You're listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. What up, everybody? It's your boy, Al Mega. Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders podcast. Very awesome episode, because this is a collaborative episode. What? I got one of my awesome music crusaders here. Let me bring up the one, the only, JJ Kimuras. What's up, homie? How you doing?
Hey. Happy to be here.
Yo, thanks for hanging out today, because this is going to be a dope one. This is comics and music, and what a combo, man. Talking to an extremely talented individual. Are you excited for this one?
Hell yeah, I'm excited.
So let's do it. I mean, homie does some dope grindhouse style comics, but you may know him from doing some awesome music videos with some of the premier music artists in rock. I mean, my dude is killing it, and he's introducing some ill characters in this grindhouse universe via Diabolic. All right. I mean, graphics, it's some dope stuff. Let me introduce the man behind this. He's a writer, he's a letterer. He wears multiple hats, folks. I hope he doesn't change his cap too many times on this one. But there's a lot to dig into. Let me introduce the one, the only, Phil Mucci. What's going on, kiddo? How you doing?
Thank you, brother. That was a great intro. I'm doing good.
Well, but thanks for joining us and hanging out. I'm ready to have a blast with you, because I know JJ and I both read the PDFs of them books, the flip book. Wowzers. Total thanks. 70s, late 60s, 70s grindhouse, like in your face. Loved it. I dug the hell out of it. Really up my alley, bro. So,
thanks, brother.
So we got to get into it. Origin stories. Origin stories is what we got to start with. So my homie, tell me, where do you come from? And a bit about your journey in young life and getting acclimated with your first taste of pop culture.
Well, I'm prepared for this question because I've watched your show before, Mr. Mega, and I'm honored to be here. Yeah, it was, my whole life I've been making stuff. It's like, that's one of the things that I just, have always done. So in school, I, did a lot of art and a lot of different types of sculpture and painting and things like that. And in college, I studied some writing and photography. I became a photographer in New York City, right when like Photoshop was blowing up. And all my influences were like anime and movies and comics and horror stuff. Who got you into this?
Who got you into it? Who gave you that first taste of pop culture?
Kind of my parents. My parents and my mother's sister. Titi.
Hey, a Titi. I never hear about Titi getting a shout. That's awesome.
No, she was amazing. She just passed away last year, but
I'm so sorry.
My Aunt Trish, she was way into pop culture. She's the one that turned me on to like Monty Python when I was a little kid.
What? Wait a minute. That's a cool Titi. What?
Totally. Yeah. She took me to Flash Gordon when it was in the bargain cinema. That 80s awesome. Flash Gordon. I fucking love that movie.
I met him. I met Flash in Boston.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Too funny.
Dude, yeah, I saw that documentary about him. It was interesting. It's kind of funny how when I was a kid, I don't know, I'm probably older than you guys, but it was like that was on HBO all the time. That movie was always on. So I ended up.
Do you mean on the antenna HBO? They used to put the antenna out the window. That's probably HBO. That's how far back I go. When we had the antenna painting of the Empire State Building, you got the signal yet?
My plug. Hold on.
JJ, you never experienced that, JJ? You never experienced the HBO antenna? You had to
no
place? No.
When we lived in the Catskills, we had an antenna. We had to dial. It was on a dial, and you had to like turn it to get the channel. And I was
like, these guys are so old.
I mean, that just sounds awful. I don't know how you survived.
It was.
Well, you had more imagination too. Like you did more things. Like you played around a lot. That was when I lived in Olive Bridge, New York, which is like in the Catskills, and it's like mountainous, kind of like isolated area. The bus ride was
a horror movie,
an hour each way. Yeah, like every day. It was a 2-hour commute to school. So there you had to dial it in. And I would watch like Creature double feature out of New York City or Chiller Theater out of New York City.
Oh my god.
Because it was in upstate New York. And that was like kind of, I got way into like all the old monster movies and all that kind of horror stuff. And that kind of just carried on into every little creative thing that I started doing, you know, like from writing and doing artwork to, you know, directing later and doing photography. Like my first thing in New York was doing photography. I was a photo assistant hustling with like big advertising clients. And then I went on my own, and like I was saying, Photoshop was blowing up. So I got to actually try and do some of the crazy effects things.
This is when Photoshop was still a software, not something that a subscription.
Yeah, exactly. No, it was back then. Yeah, exactly. You could steal a copy. And
back then, yeah, you have the disc, yeah,
exactly. And that just kind of carried on. I mean, that was the origin of it. And I mean, as a kid too, I loved the drive-ins because my parents were way into movies, and they were still drive-ins when I was growing up. And I used to love it because they would make us like work all day in the garden, pulling rocks out or pulling weeds. And then they'd be like, reward, we're going to the Dusk Till Dawn drive-in. We'd be like, what? Holy shit. You know, me and my sister pile in the back of the car.
No one was hiding in the trunk? Okay.
Nobody was hiding in the trunk. That was later when I was a teenager and we were sneaking in with kegs of beer. But, you know.
The good old days. Oh, yeah.
The good old days.
Well, I did not hit my first drive-in until I was like 19 years old, to be honest.
Wow.
And that was in Long Island. That we, you know, that's okay. Oh, they had one in the outlet. I didn't know. Oh, finally I got to go and experience that. I forgot what movie I watched, but I was also with my future wife, so you know, was I really paying attention to the movies?
Enough said. Yeah. I mean, that's what drive-ins were for. I mean, that's population explosion of the baby boom, largely because of drive-ins. Because me and my sister would fall asleep because we'd be working in the fucking garden pulling weeds all day.
It was on purpose. They did it on purpose. Like, all right.
Oh yeah, we'll go to the drive-in. Reward. You get to stay up and watch movie, and we'd be out after like the first movie. You know, like. So
they'd be like, just cover their faces now. We gotta do what we gotta do. So I want to know also, what was the first musical influence? Like, what, you know, what was the first band you ever listened to that? Okay, you're like, okay, I fell in love with this.
Can I be totally honest? Totally honest. Classical music from my dad and soundtrack music. Yeah, classical. Remembering the first thing that I loved was Holst. The planets, Mars, the god of war. You've heard it a million times in movie trailers your whole life. You probably don't even know that you know it. If you don't know it right now, if I played it for you, you would know it.
So basically, I would sound like Ralph Cramden with the Swanee River when he said instead of
well, it's not like, I don't think classical music and like heavy metal and hard rock are very different, honestly. I think there's a lot of similarities. A lot of cool classical music has like riffs, just like guitar riffs and metal, you know, like and Holst the Planets is this and it's like, that's a metal riff. I'm sorry. And that, like, when I was a kid, I was like, that's awesome. That sounds like a bunch of spaceships attacking a planet and destroying everything. You know, like I got all doomed out, you know. No, it was like anime to me. It was like when you watch Super Friends as a kid and you always wish the Legion of Doom their evil plan would happen.
Yeah, me like, too. Oh, you with the villains too, kids. Me too. Like, come on, yo, they gotta win at least once.
Because their plan sounded so evil and fucked up. You're like, oh my god, that would be great. You know, like let's see the Super Friends beat that. You know, but no. But it sounded like that to me in my head, or like Star Wars in my head, like The Empire. You know, like because Star Wars was a movie I saw when I was really young and in the theater. And my parents took me to see it like 11 times in the theater because I loved it so much. Yeah. You know, I was like 6 years old. You must have
been a good boy doing your chores.
I was a smart little kiss ass. Yeah.
Love it. Go ahead, JJ. I'm hogging Phil up here, man. He got some stories.
Well, I'm curious how you broke into the like the music video scene as far as like the music scene.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've done videos for Metallica, Opeth, Korn, Disturbed. I mean, you're up there.
Mm.
Thank you. Well, it was the music industry. It used to be that you could go from doing a lot of photography for labels. They would give you a lot of, credit for that, and you could kind of work your way up to video if you could shoot stuff, and you could show them a few things. And I made a short film that did really well. My first short film. I had money back then, a lot more than I do now, honestly. And I put it into making this short film that was a really artsy black and white horror thing called The Listening Dead. And that did really well. And I could just show that to a label that I had already worked with, and they'd be like, "Oh shit, oh, you're doing that now? Okay." And it wasn't like they just handed me a video though. What a lot of people don't know is even doing music videos now is super competitive, and the budgets are nothing. Like, you basically spend money to make videos for people most of the time, if you're trying to do a certain level of work. But you have to write dozens of videos before you ever get one to, a band to kind of like trust you to do it. I wrote, I think, 45 videos treatments
What?
before
Wow.
I even got one. Yeah. And the reason I got the one I got was because I had already photographed the band. It was Hailstorm on their first album, now Grammy award winning Hailstorm. I shot their album artwork for their first album, and we got along great. We were just like,
yeah, man. Be good people. You see good energy.
Yeah, exactly.
Later on.
It was really just not being an asshole pretty much got me the gig, because, Lizzie wanted to work with me again. So that was like, done.
How did you feel, though?
It was fun.
How did you feel when they asked you to come back again? Like, yo, we want to work with you more. What was that feeling like?
Oh, it felt great. What do you mean? No, I mean, you hope that you connect with people, and if you like people, definitely like, oh, we could work on something together and both make money and get rewarded from this. That's the best job in the world, and it's like, I knew they were talented, and I knew they were driven, like, their music's not my music, but it doesn't matter because I like them as people, and as artists, they respected me, and they're like, oh, we love your idea. What do you want us to do? And that's like a real collaboration. That's what you kind of always want. And music and labels kind of want that too. Like, now it's a lot more controlled because there's so little money, and they want to just like, we need this, we need this.
All of a sudden, there's so little money. All of a sudden, right? Because iPhones came out. Oh no, we don't have enough for a red camera.
No, it's incredible. I mean, I've seen it all happen, and one of the reasons I wanted to branch out and do other things was because, you put a lot of creative heart and ideas into these projects, especially music videos I was doing, or I have been doing, are very narrative, especially now. They're all kind of like stories, and you don't, at the end of the day, you kind of invest yourself and some of your time and money, a lot of your time and some of your money sometimes into them, and you don't own any of the rights to it. And it's kind of sad to, like, you try to post a clip from a video you wrote and directed, and it gets copyright flagged. It's like, oh wait, come on. So that's probably, I probably shouldn't even say that. I bet my company partners will be like, why did you say that, dude?
Well, yeah, that's crazy. I've never even thought about that, how it wouldn't even be, yours after it's uploaded too.
No, it's a funny thing. It's just weird. Yeah. But no, I love doing the music stuff because music is great. It's half of a movie. Like, you can actually tell so much of a story with music, and music is what I listen to when I'm writing my own stories.
Ooh, what do you get into are you still on the symphony stuff when you write?
Oh, no. I mean, sometimes, yeah, it depends on what, like, I think music is like how we program our moods and how we program our headspace, like, where do we want to go right now? So if I'm writing a horror thing, I'm listening to like a lot of Doom, a lot of Electric Wizard, a lot of like weird, like, dark metal stuff. Mephistopheles is another one that I like to. They sound like Electric Wizard though, but and I'll listen to some soundtrack stuff. I'll listen to electronic if I'm doing like an 80s throwback story. I wrote a screenplay called Season of the Bitch about a badass bitch and her man-eating dog crossing the country in a totally armored RV. It's total like, you know, trashy drive-in violent screenplay. And I would just listen to like John Carpenter music and electronic music the whole time, you know.
That is total grindhouse, what you just said, though. That's grindhouse to the damn core, son.
That might be actually our next comic if we do okay with these, because that we want to really do.
If you do okay, stop teasing. Wait till I show the trailer, folks. You guys are gonna be like, oh snap! Oh, we're gonna get this like right now. All right, so you know what? Let me start teasing. You know, because we got 3 and we have time. All right, so check it out.
I can talk forever too, man.
Don't you worry, yo. We got it here. The first one I'm gonna introduce to you guys is Phil's paranormal playboy, Dario Bava. So let's get to meet Dario.
The greatest failure of Western religion is in regards to the nature of evil.
Oh man, how dope is that? How gangster is that, folks? That's gangster. You know what amused me about that particular story too? Because you know we're gonna talk about that book with the Orgy. I mean, I know my boy. Shout out to Johnny Hughes. When I saw the nun in the fishnets, I mean, out of this whole crew, it's like my eyes zoomed. Like, oh, what the hell? I'm like, oh man, am I turning into Johnny Hughes now? You love fishnets. Don't ask. So talk to me, man. Here you are stepping yourself into creating comics. I mean, and you're not just a writer. You wear multiple hats, you know, within these books. So, you know, a salute and a kudos to you.
Oh, thanks.
Talk about the first time you took the steps to actually create, you know, a comic to put out there in the world.
Yeah, I mean, this is I really enjoy these parts of your conversations with other creators because it was interesting. The process was very interesting. It was very different from what I was used to too. Like I wrote the scripts for Orgy the Blood Freaks as kind of a animated series. We were going to take the music video style, which you saw in that video you just saw, that teaser that you just watched. We were like, let's take that style and let's own that so that we can't, you know, like it's our own project and we can share it and we can do what we want with it. And it took a lot of work. And after it was done, we had this body of artwork. You know, you have photography, you have actors, you have all these people involved. We were like, this is all ready to go. Like, why don't we just, you know, expand on this? And I started writing a different thing, which was going to be a anthology of like horror stories that would introduce these characters, you know, Orgy of the Blood Freaks, a version of it was already written, but I was gonna let's make a graphic novel that introduces some of these backstories. Because
great idea.
I had backstories of all the characters, and I was like, but how do we set it up? And I was like, well, we'll set it up like it's the ending of Orgy of the Blood Freaks, but now these two characters are talking about the rest of the team, and that's going to give us an excuse to get into these origin stories and tell them all in this book. And when I wrote it, it was really long, and I had no idea how to work with comic book artists, and I made a ton of mistakes. I'm just going to say that right now.
What is the worst one you made? Just for lesson's sake.
I don't start with an 80-page book. Ever.
80 page.
Yeah,
wow.
Never.
You
don't
start with 95% of the artists.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you also, it's just a stupid idea and it's impossible. Once you've done it a few times, now I have, so now I know. But that you're just asking for trouble. It's a pain in the ass. It's too long. You overwrote it, obviously, because no book, honestly, in story pages doesn't need to be that long. Keep people interested. 60 is good. 64 if you're doing a graphic novel. Yeah, you could go longer later in your trade paperback version, where you pile everything on. But individual stories should be 28 to 32, I think, to just get people in. I don't like a lot of modern stories that are very thin for 28 page or 24 pages. It's very thin. Not much happens.
Oh yeah, hell no. But that's oversized panels and all that. That kind of you're truncating the story to progress it, but at the same time, I'm not getting bang for my buck. Exactly. And that's the total opposite of what you do, because you gave me an old school feel to the comics where multiple panels, a lot of word bubbles. You know what? You cannot read this book. It's not a 5-minute read, folks, like modern comics. No. This, like most modern comics. There's a good read. You're going to sit down there. You're going to eat it up.
Thanks, man. I hope so. That's what I wanted to do. Well, Murder Vibes, back to the mistakes. Let's start with the mistakes. We'll move on. But the mistakes were vast and many. And you don't want to dump that onto an artist. And then if it's your first book as a writer and creator, you also don't want to micromanage that artist when you give them an impossible task, which was a mistake I made coming from a director, a photographer, a guy who's technical. And I'm like, my frame is like this, and I want this here and that there. And, I'm doing storytelling in the frames that I want, but I'm dictating to an artist who's actually the director of photography, the designer, there's so much that the artist
you gotta do is
brings.
This is what it should look like. Do your best. Thank you.
Dude, I thumbnail now. I learned with Mike Dubish is he's the godsend of Professor Dario Bava.
So salute right there, Big Mike.
I love Mike Dubish. He was a guy who has this old school style, and he doesn't use a computer at all, and it's all pencils and inks. So when you ask him for a change, you're fucking putting a gun to his head, and you're like, change this shit for me. He's like, I don't do Photoshop, man. That's a hard change. Wow. So you have to understand the artist, and he and I, it was rough at first, and he would agree. I'm not saying anything that he would not agree with. But we developed a relationship because I would just supply thumbnails and then reference documents where I would take from my world, because Mike is very comics. He's EC comics. I'm more Warren comics, like the 70s, and movies. And he's like, I can't watch horror movies. I don't even like horror movies. We have to hang out sometime and watch horror movies together so you could show me the good ones. And I'm like, yeah, they're mostly shit, but the good ones are really good.
Oh, yeah. And then I want to just strap you into your chair so you don't move,
Yeah, I was like, we're going to start with...
under you. You're not even going to get a bathroom break.
No, I got some good ones for him, but it didn't matter, because what Mike brought to it, I realized as we went into the process, not so much. The first one was hard. I'm not going to lie. But as the pages come in, you see, if you just let him go, he's going to make the world work. Because in the world of Professor Dario Bava, every grindhouse B movie you ever saw all exists in the same world. Like there are ghosts, there are exorcisms, there are Italian knockoffs of exorcisms.
There's Danny Trejo, trying to kill your ass. Hey, that's Grindhouse.
There's bikers, there's nuns, there's there's time travelers, there's sci-fi, there's werewolves, there's
what's up with nuns in Grindhouse too? And I mean, most of these ladies are really
I know.
Up, yo.
I think it's the nunsploitation thing. Like
nunsploitation.
Yeah, that's a subgenre. It's a legitimate subgenre. I'm an academic.
Never heard of that shit. Really? Nunsploitation.
Yeah. Nunsploitation. Yeah.
That just sounds like a tab on some browser internet search. I don't want to think about.
You click it, JJ. Nunsploitation. Hold on.
It's your new favorite hashtag. It is. Paul Verhoeven, who made RoboCop, now in his 70s, just did a nunsploitation film that people are being like, it's awesome. Yeah, it's usually nuns repressed with like deviant sexual fantasies and violence and lots of lesbian sex between nuns. That's somebody always burns at the stake at the end too, pretty much.
Hey, that's what happens when you defy the laws of God. I don't know. Who knows?
And they all came out of like Italy, Spain, Mexico had a good one too. Satanica Pandemonium. That name comes from a Mexican nunsploitation film that is excellent. I mean, it's
Spanish?
Weird. No, I don't. I don't speak Spanish.
You had subtitles, didn't you?
Yeah, I got it subtitled.
Okay. Or you were trying to telenovela. You just made your own lines up.
Actually, it's pretty self-explanatory. The movie is like, I mean, most nunsploitation is just an excuse to like, oh, it's Catholics, getting naked and doing the wrong thing. It's very basic exploitation. And like
Catholics don't get naked. That's just horrible things for you to do.
Well, that's kind of the world of Professor Dario Bava too. He was a Vatican exorcist, but he has a revelation in Murder Vibes. The book that prequels kind of this one. Although Orgy of the Blood Freaks works without Murder Vibes. By the way, this is the Professor Dario Bava.
No, you don't. Wait a minute.
Oh,
Stop lying.
What are you talking about me? What the hell?
Look at that, bro. Yeah, and I see he had your OG stash. What's going on there?
Yeah, he does.
Oh man, when did you get that done? That's fire.
This is by my buddy and business partner Ian Mackey, who played Professor Dario Bava in the heavy metal music video for Huntress Sorrow.
Word?
He's how the figure is characterized. He's basically him. Mike uses all the photos of Ian as Professor Dario Bava as a reference.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask that because he seems like a very real person. Like I feel like this guy's got to exist in your world.
He does.
It's like this guy exists in the back of my hood somewhere, yo. What's going on?
No, he's very real. I mean, to me, he's also like he represents kind of like I grew up in a my father's family is Italian immigrants. My father was the first one to ever get a college education. Al, you were talking about your daughter, and I was the first grandchild to get a college education.
Congrats, Whip. I love that. You see? Family's rising, kiddo.
But I grew up in this real my father's family was very much my family. It was a lot of Italian patriarchy, a lot of
and good food.
Yeah. Oh, the best food. I'm an awesome cook now, thanks to my upbringing.
Maybe Puerto Rican, but don't you dare put me in front of some Italian food. Oh my God, yo, don't do that. That's dangerous.
No, it's the best. It's the best.
And you mentioned heavy metal. I just want to show this real quick because you got some dope stuff going. They covered, heavy metal, we taking care of us, so I'm gonna take care of heavy metal too. Shout out to heavy metal. But the Danger PPD or Professor Dario. I love it. I want to be fucking around. But you also do these commercials.
These crack me up. These are my favorite.
Crazy stuff. Yeah. So go ahead, JJ, because I know you had questions here on this. You're like, homie's crazy.
not so much questions, just just statements of how hilarious it is.
The
and
awesome.
Oh,
sauce.
thank you. No, I mean it's kind of fun to have done so many different things because now I have all these like crazy skill sets. So I can make demented shit about anything I want. You know, like I can make a comic book and then make a fucked up video about it. Or like that teaser is a music video. Calibro 35 is an Italian funk band. They wrote that Professor Dario Bava theme for us. That's an original
what?
track
That's
in that
awesome.
teaser. Yeah. If
cool
you
is
look up
that?
Calibro 35, you'll see they play with everybody. Jay-Z samples them. They're like, the Italian funk band of the day right now, if that matters. But they're awesome. We love their music. They gave us their entire discography. They're like, here, check out everything for
What?
you guys. Yeah, tell us what you want us to do. Yeah, it was awesome.
Dude.
To be able to work with people like that is like amazing. And I think it's kind of because of the music video stuff. Like they take you seriously. Like if I didn't have that, I don't know that would happen. But
Nah, bro, you're awesome. It would happen. You bring good vibes. And I just want to say this sounds so effing hilarious. Frosting freaks, commie coloring communes. In America? What the hell? What is this? I mean, like, yo, what madness? Where does your brain go, kiddo? Holy smokes.
We were thinking it was during lockdown. That whole
lockdown,
thing.
yeah, drove everybody crazy.
Yeah, we did this coloring book over lockdown.
Ooh.
With all our artists because we're like, we don't have time. We got to promote our book because our book that I was telling you about, the first one, came out right as lockdown began. We got the books from the printer,
timing.
1,000 books, like at the end of February. By March 15th, everything was closed in LA, California.
Oh.
So we were like, shit, what do we do?
How'd you feel? How'd you
Oh, wow.
feel, being in that situation?
I felt mostly for my mom and my family and stuff, and I wasn't so.
You were taking up this storage, huh?
I was just like, I got 1,000 books in boxes in here right now, in my apartment. And we just started like slugging at, it's like, well, here's the problem. Let's start working with it. Everybody's going to be mail order, Oh, the government's giving people money. Like maybe they'll buy some of our goddamn books,
Hey, Uncle Sam. Hey, you want some books?
And it kind of worked. We were able to raise money for the coloring book on the, the pretense was, you get us this much money, we're going to double the fees to all of our artists who are also struggling right now. And I didn't have to color the book because it's a coloring book. So really the production was just me writing the panels and getting all the pages in and cleaning them up. And then
just making sure it progressed.
Exactly. Well, it was a way to also keep promoting the Professor Dario Bava idea, etc. So we do care about the people we work with a lot because it's tough all around. And especially for artists, I think it's, the system kind of forgets artists a little bit in the bigger
kind of. I think that they
Yeah.
forget artists and creators of all kinds constantly because, again, this is the future of entrepreneurship, right? Really. I mean, this is the future of content, in video form. And they ignore us in such ways, that I think is totally unfair. We provide value to people. We bring entertainment. We bring knowledge. We bring motivation and steps. Don't overwhelm your artist with 80 pages type stuff. Come on,
Yeah. No, that was a really good lesson, and I learned it on doing this book, the coloring book.
Love
Professor Dario Bava's Occult Activity Book, parentheses, and Spirit Board, exclamation point.
Oh.
You had to actually destroy the book to use the spirit board that the cover was made of.
Oh, so you're basically telling me I gotta buy 2 books.
Exactly.
You slick one, you.
Well, that was the whole theme. Double, you got to buy 2 books, and we pay the artist twice as much. That was the whole theme. It was double or nothing.
Dope.
But that's when we made that video, Frosting Freaks. It was like, we can't shoot anything right now. So we bought a bunch of stock footage and then we would take it into After Effects and I would put our artwork into it all over the place. And then we would redub it. And we would change all the signs in it to like reflect our world.
How long does something like that take, bro? Because it's beautiful work. To be
It was
honest.
It was lockdown. We had all the time in the world. It took all that time.
Where am I going? Is the answer.
It took the pandemic.
Yo, all right. Before we move on, I want to get into because come on, yo. We've been talking. He mentioned it already. The orgy of the blood phase, the other with Dario Bava. Let's check out this one because after this we're gonna get into some other person. And I don't know, question and JJ and I have some questions because how do we know for sure about something? So we're gonna ask about that. But let's show off some Dario Bava.
In the crypts of a ruined abbey, it has been awakened. An ancient evil, ravenous, hateful, and horny.
Orgy of the Blood Freaks.
Oh my God, ancient and horny. Goddamn, bro. That means I'll probably be dead in 1 second. Then. That's the case. Holy shit. And that
Still cracks
gorgeous
me up.
cover. Bro, you got that like total 70s horror vibe with that cover, painted and all. It
So
looks gorgeous,
cool.
right?
Emmanuel Taglietti, yeah, he's a legend. And he's
Taglietti.
an awesome dude. Yeah, he's
You
an
gotta
amazing
say it
guy.
Italian, but Taglietti.
Emmanuel Taglietti.
Yeah.
So,
JJ,
yeah, I
know
saw
you got
that.
questions, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that she was originally painted nude, the main girl on the cover,
Yeah.
but was censored. Were you expecting that censorship to come through, or is that a surprise for you?
I'll be honest with you guys and your incredible audience. We blamed it on the man, but it's really social media. It's really America that
Yeah.
forced
Right.
us.
Yeah.
He delivered it to us like that, and we were like, hell yeah, but we can't do anything with that image
Yeah.
online because if you put it into any promotion, you'll get flagged.
Yeah,
you
I mean,
try to
if Janet
sell on a
Jackson can't
website-
get away with a nipple, neither can the comic people.
Well, especially if you're paying for advertising, you can get away with it
Mm.
casually on social media, but we have to advertise. We're trying to do less and less of that and trying to do more in-person stuff.
You got some
But-
Google rules. I hear you.
But over COVID, you have to advertise online, and
Mm.
if they, even if your site has that image on it, they can stop you from like advertising. It's
Wow.
yeah, it's lame. It
It's so
sucks.
crazy. Why is America so afraid of the
I
female
know.
form? You know what I mean?
America's
Every
afraid
woman has that.
of
What's
sex
the problem?
and women. America's terrified
Apparently.
of sex and women.
Well,
Women, we're gonna try to like make women like slaves again, and
Nah.
it's
Yeah,
I
crazy.
don't understand that.
whatever happened to that free the nipple movement? Is that still happening? I feel like it should be.
Yo, that's the only hashtag right there.
I'm a
What's
founding
wrong?
member. Yeah, exactly.
Founding member.
I mean,
Bro.
we've all got two of them. Come on. Why can't we see them? It's stupid.
Oh, wait a minute. No, we could see male nipple, but we can't see female nipple.
Hashtag free the nipple,
I
yeah.
know, but that's ridiculous.
Yeah, you gotta free the nipple for real. Get it done. I mean, it's crazy, but yeah. So what's popping, man? How many stories do we have before we move on to the next loco? How many stories we have for Dario?
Well, Orgy of the Blood Freaks is going to be 3 books.
Awesome. All
this is
40
the-
pages, because folks, they're 40 pages, but then he also has a flip book, which we're gonna get into. Oh my god, like he's a geek king over here.
Yeah, they're gonna probably the second one's gonna be the longest, but it's not finished being written right now. We've had a lot of like, it's been a shitty time. Sorry to keep swearing, but
No, you swear. This is an adult show. You know, kids
Okay,
shouldn't be
cool.
listening to this anyway, unless they have money and want to buy these comics on the website. You know.
yeah,
right
you
there.
got to
Here's
have
what you
really
get
cool
comics.
parents if they're gonna let you read Professor
A
Dario
cool
Bava.
titi like you had, you know, letting you watch
Exactly,
Ponte Maitan,
exactly.
you know, when you were a
Yeah.
youngin.
No, this is a full length story. This is why when you read the first one, it's like a lot of like things get thrown up in the air, and you're like, oh, what's gonna happen next? That's all deliberately like set up to like pay off as we go along. And I have another one that I want to do after this, Biker Cult of the Nazi Werewolves, but I don't know yet if we'll get to do that.
I'm down
We'll
for
see.
that.
Yeah, that one's gonna be fun because it's gonna be more of the it gets set up in this story actually. So I kind of want to go there because a lot of the Professor Dario Bava stuff is very rich. Like the idea, one of the main ideas that Professor Dario Bava has is that evil is not some supernatural or Christian idea of evil. Evil is a human force, and it comes from humans inflicting suffering and pain on others, and fear on others.
Isn't evil also up to the person to define what is evil and what is good? So there's also personal definition.
No, I don't. I disagree. I think there is a certain, murdering children is evil. If you don't think that's evil, if you think murdering children is good, then you have a
in a movie maybe like Rambo.
You're evil.
No, like Rambo. When I saw the last Rambo, when he threw that, when the soldiers were throwing kids into the fire, I got excited because I'm like, oh my God, they're killing children. I've never seen this before. Call me a sicko, but sometimes, not that I'm evil, but it's like, okay, you know what? Because again, equal rights for everybody in movies. Everybody needs to die equally. It shouldn't just be dudes dying.
Everybody needs
I agree with that. But the reason that you saw that image was to say that the people who threw the kids in the fire are evil. That's all. That's why that image is in there. I may be evil
because I laughed at that scene and my wife looked at me. Oh, you're so fucked up. I said, no, it's because I've never seen this before. not because of anything.
Well, spoiler alert: plenty of kids die in Professor Dario Bava.
Oh my God! Hey,
for evil reasons. Right now. But no, it's fun. It's about kind of we have to reckon with the thing. Evil that's let to sit and lie will fester over time, and if we don't deal with it, monsters will be born. And that's kind of the theme of Professor Dario Bava. So each story we learn about the past of our heroes, and we learn about the past of our monsters. Because as a kid, I identified a lot with monsters. Especially in puberty, I identified a lot with monsters.
Hey,
I'm just gonna leave that one there because there's a lady here, and I don't want to.
That's why. So let me ask the next question because I already knew that I had the potential to ask something very dangerous, and I will not. Don't you worry. I'm gonna have to do a Comic Crusaders After Dark with you. Let me tell you.
We'll have to do that one.
Yeah, we gotta do that. But yeah, I want to start moving on to the next story too because that one I dug, and I know that. Before you came on, JJ and I were discussing about the look. Like, are we sure? So let me introduce this other character that homie got out. It's part of that double feature, which we're going to get into. It's called Gringo Loco. Wepa! Check out this bad boy.
I love that teaser.
Yo, I love that music. Holy smokes, yo. So I'll let Lady go first here. Who do you think Gringo Loco kind of reminds you of?
Oh, definitely Eddie from Iron Maiden, the Derek creation. Yeah.
And then my thing was, since he's the king, how are we sure he's a gringo? Are we gonna get into that? Is gringo-ness at any point in time? I mean, what's popping? Tell us, who the hell is Gringo Loco?
Well, Gringo Loco is he's a man of mystery. We don't know who he is. I mean, that's kind of the fun of that story is that I wrote an entire story about Gringo Loco and how he became what he is. And we didn't make that book. We kind of took that. We're like, okay, that's the backstory. And we just kind of put it aside. And I thought of this situation, like what if we saw him 3 months later and his life is a mess and they're about to try to kill him again. And that's how I came up with the idea of that whole the scenario.
Wait a minute.
In the book.
we're gonna find. So wait a minute. That what you just said. So he dies like multiple times. They just can't kill homie. Like, that's what's popping. But I love how you said immune to lead poisoning, and then you see the gun,
He's just
like,
getting shot.
Yeah, well, that kind of lets you know, like, that's kind of the guy. He's immune to hanging, he's immune to lead poisoning, but he's sick of it all, and he's like a pissed off like character. To me, he's like my the monster that I've always wanted to kind of do. I've had ideas about Gringo Loco for 10 years now. It went from a Western to like a sci-fi border thriller like Sicario to back to a Western.
Wait a minute. If you could do a Gringo Loco and a Sicario style, that would be really loco.
Well, it was
No
like a
pun intended.
sci-fi Sicario style. It was part of
man.
like a future U.S. where the wall has been built. Most of the United States is a
homie
fucking
made it
prison.
happen apparently.
But I kind of wanted to go back because Professor Dario Bava is such a big, broad world, and it's a lot of work for both me and the artist.
Wait a minute. So Gringo Loco exists within the world of Dario?
He kind of does. There's a poster on a wall on a page in Murder Vibes from the Monster Dimension, the first Professor Dario Bava graphic novel. And it's a poster on a wall. It's Gringo Loco. And it has killing him was their first mistake. And it was a movie that this actress who got possessed by some, spirit creature was cast to play against the actor Kurt Reynolds in. And it was on the wall. And it was because I already had the idea for the story. At that point, it was back to a Western, and I knew it was going to be called Gringo Loco. And we wanted to tease it. And then we just decided, the idea is so cool. Why don't we just do that book too? Like, because we can hire a different artist. So we can actually release like a big book, an 80-page book, because we're doing different stories. We got one artist on one, we got one artist on the other. And then why don't we make it a flip book? We can have two covers. We'll have an artist do a cover for Orgy the Blood Freaks, and then a different artist do a cover because if you do it that way, the timing works out. Like I can color up to artwork, and do the layouts all. So it was just a matter of like.
So you do writing,
you have
letters,
two teams
coloring,
doing it.
and layout?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Well, I don't do the custom lettering. Like the custom lettering, we work with Lydia Roberts, who's an artist in New York.
Lydia,
she's awesome. She just did two comic books on her own too, where she did all the art and all the lettering. But she does like the titles and she does the sound effects, and she and I work together pretty closely. And she gets to like look at the book and be like, "Oh, that looks good," or like. She looks at my lettering and stuff too, and helps me.
But she judges you. She goes, "Phil, what are you doing here?" Wait a minute, Phil.
If Lydia has ideas, I listen to them.
As we should. We gotta listen to the ladies in our lives, man. Because again, this is what America afraid of women. But I've only been surrounded by strong and powerful women, and I have strong and powerful women on my team. So we're up for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, and I also want to show this because I wanted to show this before, but just in case anybody wants to like. Check out all the dope videos. Check it out for Professor. Those commercials he did right there, There's a YouTube. I'm gonna share this on the notes, but if you guys want to have a good time, hey, that's where you gotta go. For real.
Yeah, there's a video of Lydia doing the Gringo Loco thing too there. Yeah.
Oh, really?
She does
in
the
that
lettering.
playlist?
Yeah, it's at the bottom, yeah.
Hey, folks, there you go. Don't skip to the bottom. Watch every single one. Don't you dare. Nothing against Lydia. I'm just saying, let's go down and support everybody.
Exactly.
Is that like a steep learning process for like doing coloring and lettering? Like I can't imagine where you'd even begin to learn that
skill. That's what I was saying before, is like because I've done so much stuff. Like back when I was doing mostly photography, I had to do that stuff all the time. I worked in Photoshop all the time because my photography, some of it was even comic book panels. I did multiple stories where I did comic book panels and I colored my photography, and put it into backgrounds and stuff like that. And I did text layout. So I had a lot of experience previously. It's like, then I took time to start making a ton of music videos, and then I came back to it, and even when you do music videos, you have to sell your idea. At least I had to sell my ideas for a couple of years, and then it was just like people come to you and they say, here's the song, what do you want to do?
That's awesome. So now you think, do you get like a lot of creative control over, whatever your vision is for that particular song? Or does some of them get kind of like specific and they want, like this specific thing or story?
It does vary. There's some people who are more involved, but generally not. I mean, David on the Disturbed video he checked me on some of the ideas I had in it originally. He wanted it to be more broad. He didn't want me to specify targeting. Like I targeted like big wigs and limo driving guys, and he's like, no, just keep it more general, keep it more about the media atmosphere, keep it more about like what we all consume kind of thing. And then with somebody like Matt Pike on the High on Fire video, the song had a story, and he definitely wanted elements of that story to make it into the video, and then I expanded on that, beyond what he had in mind. But usually people are cool because they like the others. If they like what you've already done, and you're not in like, it's not like it was when I started where you were one of 12 directors writing treatments on one song, and the band would just pick whoever they thought sounded the best. And or 9 times out of 10, they pick their friend who wrote a treatment.
I want to just tease people real quick. I mean, look at who he has worked with, folks. I mean, from the music side, Dope, Metallica, 100, Disturbed, Torch, Monster Magnet, Das Muerte, Stone Sour. I got to see I saw Metallica and Stone Sour live thus far. High on Fire right there. Opeth, Korn, Jackie Thon, My Heart, Your Hands, Hailstorm, like you mentioned earlier. You got the Louis the 14th there, Paper Doll. I mean, yo, what up, bro? Jeez, look at his resume. And then now you're a comic geek. I love this, bro. This is the journey of geekiness. I mean,
yeah, this is all the things that we love. Yeah.
Yo,
nerd.
I'm proud of you of your nerddom, bro. Besides the free the nipple hashtag that we have going, I mean, what else are we gonna have going here, bro?
Dude, I'm really excited about this book coming out because I love the Gringo Loco character too, because he's kind of he kind of reminds, he's like the part of me that always identified with the monster. Like I think all of us kind of do, like when you're the outcast, when you feel like you don't belong in a place, or you feel like everyone's hostile to you, and then you feel like, what are the reasons they're hostile to me? Why do I, like, and that kind of like existential angst is really like relatable to me. And he's also kind of, as we learn, like, he's made of all these different pieces of other people. Like, what is he? And that, well, you could see like,
there you go,
awesome.
Stitched together.
So wait, is he made of a lot of gringos then?
No, he's I'll give you, this is a scoop. This is a scoop. Okay.
Scoop alert, folks.
This isn't in the book so far, but it's in the next book. He's made of pieces of the men he killed.
Oh, that is so sick. You are a sicko, my friend. Now I have a follow-up question to that.
Yeah, like a Western, like Buffalo Bill situation.
Yeah, the Buffalo Zombie, more like it. Holy smokes, son.
Yeah, he's kind of like my RoboCop, my Tetsuo, my.
Does he retain the memories? Does he retain the memories of the dead that make him up?
No, he just pays the price for killing all those men.
Oh,
over
it's
and
a punishment
over
story.
and over and over again. And now he's no longer a white man. He's no longer a gringo. He's a black man here. He's a brown man here. He's the colors.
He's the United Nations of zombie killers.
Yeah. Exactly. And everybody's trying to figure out a way to kill him because everybody wants him dead. And
that first issue is so badass. Obviously, you have a heartbreaking moment there. as well.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man. I mean, I know I was talking mean before about kitties, but there's a heartbreaking moment. There's like, oh man, for real, that's foul.
Yeah.
Poor kiddo. And just the story, it feels very much like a very 70s spaghetti western done in a horror style.
Yeah. Well, that's what I wanted to do because I like those characters and I love those because those spaghetti westerns, the Italian westerns, they weren't full of like heroes in white hats. Everybody was like a complicated character with a past.
They're all fucked up people.
They're very most of them are very bad, even the heroes, and
I mean, have you seen like Clint Eastwood movies, folks? I mean, the way he mistreats women and that, I mean, he is like horrible. It's like, damn, bro, you gangster, son. That's not right.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about too. But there's another one that I watched after I wrote it and after Vicente Alcazar, who I have to shout out. The guy is a legend, a Spanish legend. Vicente Alcazar, Spanish artist, worked in Eerie and Vampirella and Creepy and Conan. He's like the 70s run of Jonah Hex was by Vicente Alcazar.
Oh, word. Oh,
yeah. So when we found out that he was still working, that we could get him, I was like, holy shit, dude. I'm like, because my other business partner, Dan Simpson, he finds the artist. He's like the producer extraordinaire. He reaches out to people, he tracks them down, and he was like,
don't be shy.
He's like, I want to, I want to tell you about this guy. And he said the name, and I'm like, holy shit, Vicente. I'm like, he's still alive. He's like, he's still working. He's still working.
Crazy? That's your first question. Oh my God, he's still around? Holy shit. Yes.
Well, you never know. You never know.
I know nowadays, yeah.
I mean, Emmanuel Taglietti, too, who does the covers on Bava, like, I was surprised that he was still working because a lot of his old work had got lost in a fire in Venice and like all this shit had happened to him. And I'm like, is he still painting? You can't get these guys to stop painting, like I feel like I'm going to be the same way. I'm going to be this old nerdy guy, hopefully in Italy or Spain. That's
the plan? Still going to go back
home. But Vicente was amazing. He got the script and he loved it. And I didn't even get to send him thumbnails or reference. He started immediately. Like I started just getting shit from him sent to me. He's like, here's what I think he looks like. Here's Nightshade Mary. Here's, Cyrus Caldwell. Here's all these characters. Excuse me. And I was just blown away. I only had to thumbnail, I think, a page and a half. I mean, that's unheard of. And references, I gave him some reference documents, but it's like he's already been there. Like he knew what was around every corner in this story, and he knew that character better than I did. Like the only back and forth we really had was on the design. Like, what does he look like? Because I had already done a bunch of Photoshop sketches from old artwork and tried to put together like, here's kind of what he looks like. So it was figuring that out and the proportions of the guy. But after that, it was we were just getting pages after pages after pages pages. Like the thumbnails were perfect. And I'm sorry guys. I talked to my partners, in Diabolic and I'm like, I'm just going to say yes to everything. Is that cool? And they're like, yeah, go.
Yeah, when you work with a legend, don't say no. We only have them from legitimate time, folks. I mean, we just lost a legend on what was it over the weekend.
That's true.
So it's like an incredible legend. I had the opportunity of meeting.
And Vicente studied under him. Yeah, he was like, he was a mentor to Vicente. Yeah, I mean, bro, Vicente's only a little bit younger than him. So
my favorite story with Neil is that I did the Great Adventure Comic Con in New Jersey. It was the first time they ever did a Comic Con within Great Adventure, right?
Yeah,
it was at the old Top Gun ride. That's where they did it. So Neil's there. And I guess he decides to get up and just peruse what the vendors had. At that time, I had boxes upon boxes of books that I was trying to get rid of. He comes up to my booth and I had a name tag. What's my name again? What do I call myself?
Al.
You guys?
Mega.
Al what?
Mega.
This mother effer come up to me, looks at me, says, "Hi, Almesia." I just looked at him, sir. It's Mega. And I just walked away because I got upset. I said, you doing this shit on purpose, son. You know that shit says Mega. Stop it, Misha. Where the fuck do I look like I come from?
I like it even better now. That's funny.
Almesia.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden we're gonna have an Italian character called Almesia.
Dude, that's a good character. It's a character
Yeah.
who can't remember anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Almesia.
Almesia.
He's very forgetful.
Yeah, very forgetful until he kills your ass. He remembers that. I kill X with many people. Why? I don't know. I just did. All right, there you go. So what's up with Diabolic? I want to know about this press, bro, because you got these books and all. When did you form this? How was it to form the team, and what does the future look like for Diabolic?
Well, I hope it's bright. We formed it to make the music videos because in the industry of like film production, like if you don't have your own production company, you basically have to give 15% of your money to another company who's the production
15?
company. You end up giving like 10 to 15 at least to a production company because they're going to mark up some other shit. But anyway, we were like, fuck that. The budgets are too low. Let's start our own production company. So we did that. And that gave us clout in the business world of the creative, mechanisms of Los Angeles. So we could, hire people, we could get insurance, we could do all this production stuff. But then after kind of the Metallica video, we were like, let's focus on a specific project. And we'd already thought like Professor Dario Bava was a great character from doing the Huntress video, which is a hilarious Italian horror movie homage. Excuse me. So we were like, let's do something with him, and we decided we would just start focusing on that. And we did crowdfunding, to raise money to do the first few.
Was that your first time doing crowdfunding?
The first time was on Murder Vibes from the Monster Dimension. It was a lot of work. It was a ton of work. But we raised, $14,000. That's not bad.
Was that the goal?
That was a little more than the goal, but you always keep your goal low to make, because it's algorithmic nonsense.
Yeah.
It's all
BS.
I
mean, it's science and math.
Yeah. And that worked out well. So we want to, once we did the first book came out, COVID hit, but when we sent it out, we loved getting the feedback from the people who supported us, and we put it into shops. And then as soon as restrictions started,
how'd you get it into shops? Did you do OG footwork?
Footwork, my friend.
Oh my, the backpack. I got
this guy. This guy went to every comic shop in LA and gave them copies of the book.
It was
awesome.
That's the way you should do it, bro. That's
business. Ian went, and then we arranged signings. They at first he just gave them books and just said, check it out, let us know what you think. And then he would reach out to them and they'd be like, we loved it. You guys want to come in and do a signing? Comic Bug in LA, like they actually gave us a table at LA Comic-Con at the end of last year. In Artist Alley, which is a lot of shops get like a certain number of Artist Alley tables. So, and that was the first one. I was here helping out my mom, so I didn't get to go to that one, but Ian had a great time.
Yeah, you gotta help mommy. Good boy. What a good son.
But we got to do a couple comic shop signings, and then we did a successful campaign for that book again.
Hey, that baby right there.
And then we did another one for this, that worked out. The first one you do kind of really well. I'll tell people about crowdfunding if you're worried about it or wondering about it. Like, you should do as much work as you can, and you should deliver to your backers. Like, you have to
don't do a Rob Liefeld.
Honest. No, and as a filmmaker, I've seen so many filmmaker campaigns go south, and like they piss off all their backers, and it's like, this comics world is like, these are real diehard nerds, and if you could get them on your side and deliver, like, you got a loyal fan base. It's like the horror community is like that too. There is like the horror fans and the sci-fi fans, the genre fans, the metal fans. I mean, I was able to bring people in who liked my metal videos.
I love that, bro. I know so many people hate the movie The Terrifier. I love it, and I met them. I'm like, I dig it, but too many people say, no, this is too much for me to handle.
Dude, you should see did you see the Argentine movie Aterrados? It's Terrified. Aterrados.
No, I gotta see.
Terrified. Watch
Really?
that. It's in Spanish. It's
That's
fucking
perfect.
awesome, dude.
No
It's
subtitles
awesome.
for me.
And it's a crazy movie. It's like about this one like corner in this Argentine city. I think I forget which it is, but it's like this one intersection and all these different stories of these crazy supernatural events happening in each one. And then a paranormal team comes in to investigate it. And it's horrifying. It's a lot of
in
like
a Latino country where you get that craziness.
there's a crazy scene where you see a kid get hit by a bus and it's horrifying. But then
that's why you think I'm gonna love it. Look at this guy.
No.
Instead of like Rambo getting,
Well, check out the scene. The next time we see him, there are muddy tracks leading to a table in a dining room, and he's sitting in his funeral clothes at the table, sitting at the table like he's alive, in front of a plate of cookies and a glass of milk, and he's just sitting there, and that's where they find him, and they're like, "How the hell did he get here?" The mom's freaking out. It's like this horrifying scene. And the two guys start talking about it. Like, what the hell happened? Do you think she dug him up himself? And then they look back and the glass of milk is shaking and half of it's gone. And the kid's got milk coming. Oh, it's terrifying.
So cool.
It's terrifying. It's
that
terrifying.
kid is dead that very instant. I just buried you. I'm evil.
You gotta see that movie, Aterados. I think you pronounce it Aterados.
No, I like that because before I figured out the name Almega, I wanted to use alterado because if you put those words together in Spanish, that means that you are loud. Alterado.
Alterado. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, so I said, nah, it'll be lost in translation. So I just go with Mega, which one day in the origin of Mega was I was playing Rock Band to see a rock guy. And I was, challenging people, and I was challenging somebody from Georgia. And they were like, "What's your name?" I didn't want to give them my real name. So I'm a big fan of Megatron. And I had a friend that always called me Al. I was like, all right, Al Mega. Oh, they fell in love with me. On that rock, and I kicked their ass, each and every single one. So if anybody still got an old school Xbox, you want to play some Rock Band, I'll fuck you up.
Just remember, it's pronounced Almesia.
According to Mr. Adams, may he rest in peace. Salute, my brother. May God have you in his reigns right now, for real. But I'll never forget that. That's one of my biggest awesome memory of Mr. Adams. But right now we're gonna build new memories with Phil. This whole world of Grindhouse, this whole world of music videos and possibly movies. I mean, I need to see a Gringo Loco. I want to see Gringo Loco animated, and I want to see Dario in a film. Do you agree with that?
I imagine the other way. I imagine
really?
Dario Bava animated and Gringo Loco as a live action movie.
That would be terrifying. Yeah.
It would be terrifying.
Because especially that damn opening scene, some motherfucker hanging there talking about, yo, you got a stove? I'm like, what?
I love that. Yeah, that was the thing that gave me the whole inspiration for that first book. Was like I thought of like, okay, if we put away the whole story of like how he got to be who he was, and we catch him later in his journey,
it's
what's happening to him? It's like I bet he got hung for messing up some guys.
That's so
someplace.
Freaky. Yeah, because
they try to kill him, but they can't kill him.
It's obvious the kid knew that he wouldn't be dead since he was just again, folks, you got to read this book. I mean, that had me so entertained and such a throwback. And then when I went Dario too, I was like, yo, this is old school time horror fun. You have this whole universe there, and obviously he's a very much of a ladies' man playboy because when he gets to his headquarters, it's like, damn, brother, what's going on?
Like Austin Powers, yeah.
Oh yeah, right. The Austin Powers of superstitious guys.
He's a paranormal playboy. His life is a fantasy. I mean, like he's like
putting spells on them ladies.
He's my teen. Yeah, he's the teen boy fantasy of me, a kid born in 1969. Never got to see any of that cool hippie shit, but I was always.
You were born on the cusp of it.
It was all pretty much happened, but it was still like a thing that I always had like this affection for, and also those movies which I saw. Just in syndication on TV, of all the old Hammer movies too. You remember those?
Wow, yeah.
The Hammer horror. I'm a big fan of those flicks too. Because they're always ridiculous, you know, and they're always kind of fun, you know. They're not scary, but they're entertaining as hell, you know. It's more about fun. Yeah, Gringo Loco is more dark, you know, to me.
It's right up my alley, bro. And I'm pretty sure up JJ's alley. I mean,
I mean, both of them. Yeah, like I love horror, I like dark stuff, but I also like the zany, like fun side, you know, too.
Dario Bava is a lot of fun, and it was like over COVID, like working on that was like, it was like such a relief from everything, you know. It was like going into that world of Professor Dario Bava, where it's all monsters and fun, and we're gonna smoke weed and, you know, get it on, you know. It's like
orgies,
it's just like, bro, wouldn't that be great?
Please, let's not correlate orgies with weed. Yeah, let's not correlate orgies with weed, because I don't want the government trying to shut down, you know, us getting that open and legal now. Let's correlate orgies with coke, like those crazy Republicans do.
CBD.
I don't know about CBD. I don't need something to make me just feel calm. I need something to get me bent, so that way I could pick up a Grindhouse book and just be like, dive in. I'm here.
I gotta send you murder vibes. I gotta send you guys murder vibes. You gotta get that one too,
please.
Because you like that. That one's really trippy,
boy. Please. All right. So, you know, I don't want to take too much more of your time. What's up? What's the future of Diabolic Publishing? And are you going to do any conventions where we could, you know, meet you, give you £1 and get a signed book?
Yes. We're going to go to Comic-Con Revolution in Ontario, California, not Ontario, Canada.
Oh, bro, that fucked me up, because when I went to San Diego Comic-Con, I missed my flight. And then my boy was like, yo, the only one available is to Ontario. I said, I ain't going to Canada. He goes, bro, it's in fucking California. I'm like, oh, I never heard of that shit. Yo, and then we had to drive down an hour to the San Diego airport to get our luggage, and drive another hour to get to our place, and then wake up 2 hours later to get to San Diego Comic-Con.
It's a pain getting around. It is.
No, we found the same parking 3 days in a row. You have no idea. We were lucky. But then the whole time I'm looking for weed, and only the last day that I finally say, was that on a rush? And I looked up, I was parking in front of a dispensary the whole time.
Oh my God. I mean, yeah, it's hard to miss in California. I don't know what
bro. I missed that shit because I was all about San Diego. And even though I went to the smoke, I was having so much fun with the atmosphere. But now I know next time, hopefully I get the same parking. I'll go in there with I have fun, smoke up, and let's do Hall H.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, we haven't done San Diego Comic-Con yet, but we are doing the Ontario one at the end of May, and then we're doing Monster Palooza in Pasadena at the beginning of June. It's the first weekend in June. It's like Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Nice.
And Monster Palooza is pretty badass. I mean, the last time I went to it was the last time they were kind of having it, and I couldn't even get in because the line was so long. Like, it's like the whole California horror scene is like converges on that place, and it's like a madhouse. So we're psyched to go there because we're like only one of like 3 or 4 books there, you know.
What?
Yeah, because we got the idea actually to do a booth there from the Comic Bug guys, because they're like, guys, this shit is so cool. It's so horror. You should do Monster Palooza, because they're like, the Comic Cons is very superhero. So like, if you want to get really the people that are gonna love this book, you should go to like a horror con. And they're like, and Monster Palooza is a really good one. So we were like, shit, let's do it. You know,
you better keep them as friends. Or the people giving you some real talk.
No, the comic book world, once we got to go out to the shops, you know, once the restrictions started lifting, it was amazing. I mean, we had such a great time, and the guys are really nice, and everybody we met who came in, and the owner of Pulp Fiction too, Kristen, she's like really awesome as well, and like loved the book. And it's like great to get like reactions from people live, you know. And we went from one shop to another shop the next week, and a guy who got the book from us the first week saw us the second week and was like, oh my God, that book was awesome.
Don't you love that?
I love that.
One time I went to a convention, and then we were just chit-chatting, and I recommended him a book. Bro, a year later, I had a different con. Dude's there. He runs to me, tells me. I'm like, yo, what's up? I'm like, I know you. He goes, yo, no, you don't. I don't know if you remember me, but last year you recommended me a book. I just want to say thank you. I fucking love it. I bought that shit in every version possible. I said,
oh wow.
Damn. All right, cool. So now I know what else to recommend to people here because I know I loved it. So hopefully people can remember you later. Like, yo, Al, you put me on some sick shit by Phil. That's the plan. That's what I want. So you got to make it happen. So I don't want to take too much more of your time and JJ's because I know Jay. Do you have any other questions to ask Phil before we go today?
No, I think I mean, I'm sure I will in like an hour. I'll think of things.
Then you give them to me because I want Phil back, bro. Because I love the energy.
We'll do another one. I'll send you guys murder vibes. You can get all up to date on the Professor.
Oh my
Dario
God!
Bava.
You want us talking murder vibes? It's gonna be sick. But folks,
murder
right
vibes
there,
from the monster dimension, and it's a trick question. Which dimension are you in? Dun dun dun.
I'm in the megaverse. All right. So let's talk about it, folks. I want you to score some books at a specific website. Professor Dario, Dario Bava, BAVA.com. You should know how to spell professor. If you don't, that's a problem.
Talk to your professor if you don't know how to spell professor.
Exactly. Your English teacher did you wrong. All right. So please follow Diabolic, Diabolik. Right. Please visit them on Facebook at Diabolic Films, Instagram, and Twitter. All the same, one word, Diabolic Films. Right.
That's right.
And then you got to follow Big Phil right here on his socials. So if you go to Twitter, it's Phil_Mucci, MUCCI. And then all one word, no underscore on Instagram. And of course, if we want to see that topless cover, please support Free the Nipple.
We made a puzzle of that cover, by the way.
Oh, you made a puzzle.
Hey, all right.
We made a 1,000-piece puzzle of that cover.
Yo, I dig that. You are the first comic person that ever told me you did a puzzle.
We did a puzzle.
What can I get that at this website right there, the Bava website, or no?
It's too late. We only had so many to make. It was a crowdfunding deal, and only a certain number of people ordered them, and they were expensive to make.
The one piece with the nipple was probably the one missing on purpose to get you all mad. Yo, that's $5 extra if you want to complete it.
Well, we would have had one extra, but Emmanuel Taglietti asked us nicely if we would send him a copy of the puzzle. So,
hey, you don't deny your artist.
No,
his work. So.
He gets that one. Yeah, he's a super great guy. We're lucky.
You should definitely do a second version on that because I think fans would eat it up to have something like that and then put it in a frame and post up because it's beautiful artwork, and to be able to do this as a puzzle, say, yo, I put this together.
Well, I'll give you another little inside scoop. If you get the double issue of the book, you get the naked version of the cover inside.
Inside. Everybody,
you don't have to get the puzzle.
There you go, people. There you go, people. You buy the book, you're gonna get a feet and nipple cover. Inside.
Safely inside. Yes.
So that way the kiddies don't be like, oh, mommy, look at that. Is she cold? Well,
it's so tasteful. It's very tasteful. It's like art. It's like Renaissance art.
Listen, America, you to get over that.
Totally.
Feed a titty, feed everything. Let's go and respect your ladies, all right? So, but with that though, Phil, you've been nothing but an amazing guest, and my co-host here, JJ. First, let me shout out my big homie, JJ. Please follow JJ on Insta at that_freak_JJ. On Twitter, you go JJ_metalhead. She also has a dope YouTube. All right, so look out. It's gonna be shared in the notes. Don't you worry. And
I'm writing it down.
And of course, please follow the family, Music Crusaders. Music Crusaders acts everywhere. Where her and Caleb. Shout out to the big homie that couldn't make it today because he had to do overtime. We're in need. America's in need. We got to work hard, for our money. But Caleb next time. But follow the family right there, Music Crusaders. And of course, you can follow me on every single social, no matter what it is, at the Real Al Mega. Please follow the extended podcast family, Undercover Case, No Price Podcast, Definitive Crusades, Sloppy Spoilers, Outside the Panels. All these homies are killing it. Please, yo. But again, it's about Phil today. Follow Phil everywhere. Follow Diabolic everywhere. And please visit this site and spend that money. Throw your wallet at the screen and just spend. Because believe you me, this is a Crusaders approved book. Grindhouse, old school, I effing dig it. Horror, fucking action, everything, and beautiful work by a very talented individual, Phil. So
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother.
Flowers, brother. Thank you,
brother.
Brave.
I take them all. I take them all.
It takes quite a very special type of person to want to put their work out there. So when you do that without fear, it's something that's very motivational and inspirational. So just thank you, because if anyone had a doubt about their story, check out Phil's stuff. I mean, that shit is fire. Don't doubt yourself. Just put it out there. Do what Phil did.
I agree.
Form that studio and get her done. And lastly, this is the last words, but I want them from you. If we were to give an advice to anyone trying to step up into the game right now, what you got for them?
Try the first thing you do is something that you can finish. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Write a good, simple, tight story. As few pages as you could possibly manage, and produce it, finish it all the way to the end. That's the best way to build your motivation and your drive. The more you see of your own stuff actually coming into existence, the more motivated you will be and the more courage you'll have to do more. So don't make the mistake I did and bite off more than you can chew the first time.
See, real talk right there. I love it. Thank you, brother. Much love to you. Thank you, JJ, for hanging out. Thanks. And everybody, again, I already told you what to do. Hasta la próxima, mi gente. Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.shop and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.